Okay, so let's get started. Workshop number 1 of the series here in 2023. I'm super excited about these. We're going to do a series of roadmaps, a series of learning how to grow your business, a series of how to go from A to Z, because we all need help every once in a while, even myself. So this first one here is just the roadmap to actually starting your business, getting started, and becoming a virtual assistant. So I don't want to take up a whole lot of time today, so we're just going to dive right into it and get started. So this workshop is geared towards people who are highly skilled individuals who know that they want more, they deserve more, and they want to start a business that helps them not make pennies, but make really good money so that they don't miss out on the life of their dreams, because we all have those dream lives that we want to live. And this is one incredible way to get there with a whole bunch of different avenues. So just a little bit background on me. I've made over $100,000 a year, every year from my couch, being a virtual assistant. And it's something that anybody and everybody can do. You'd be surprised how many skills you actually have. And we're going to talk a little bit about how you can take what you're really good at and what you love doing and combine them to create great offers that you can put out. So a little bit about me. Hi, welcome. My name is Tegan. I'm going to be your tour guide for today. I started my business when a whole life of mess was thrown at me. I had just had my baby. He was 6 months old at the time. I had gotten a demotion from work, being told I wasn't a leader, which is really hard to hear. And my then marriage was falling apart. I got ready to go through a really horrible divorce. So I knew that I had to do something different because what I was doing at the moment wasn't working. Being a 9-to-5 corporate woman and trying to have a baby and a family just wasn't going to work. So I decided I was going to do something new. I was going to start my own business. So I went to work and I worked my 9-to-5. And when I clocked off at 5 o'clock, from there, I went home and I worked on building my business at night. So I would work, like I said, I had a little 6-month-old. So I would feed him and put him down around 6:30 to 7. And then I would work from then until he woke up at about midnight, 1 o'clock for his midnight feed. And then I would go to bed and get up and do it all over again. And I did it on repeat until I had enough business that I could walk away from my job, which took me only 2 weeks to replace my full-time income. So I started my business full-time. After that 2 weeks, I gave my resignation and I walked away. And since then, I've built like mad. That marriage of mine, like I mentioned, it went up in flames. My then husband decided I wasn't worth it, and he burned every bridge that I had ever. I lost every client, every friend, every family member, and I was completely alone. I had to start all over again. So I was a single mom, barely any income, and I started the business from the ground up again. Went to Oodles of Therapy. I lived on welfare for a while, and I got things back on track with this new 2.0 version of my life. I don't share it because I want pity. I want to share it because I know that every one of us, especially moms, have struggles in our own way. And holy crap, there's so much comfort in knowing that you're not the only person that has a hard time. So the second time around building my business, I did stuff different. And that result helped me hit 6-figure years in the first year I was back. And since then, I've been able to do things like pay for my trips across the country. I paid for my divorce in cash. I paid for my wedding. Yes, mine, I'm remarried. Huge birthday parties for my kid, all sorts of amazing things. Disneyland annual passes. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see we go every month. So amazing things because I restructured and did it again. So I created this cash flow that it didn't have to have the money stress because let's be honest, none of us have time for that. And the beauty about this business is it's scalable and it's a system that I can teach a team and I can walk away for a while and go on vacation. And I know that they're going to keep it going for me. And I want to teach you how to create that system so that you can have it too, because it's really rad. So I was really done with working the 9-to-5. I was really, let's be honest, it was like an 8 to 10, but I was done selling my soul for pennies and missing out on life. And I wanted to start a business that wasn't hard. It didn't cost a lot. It made me a lot of money and it gave me the freedom that I wanted. And I'm guessing if you're here, you want the same thing too. So I wanted more, so I built it. The system that I'm going to show you today is how you can create the business of your dreams without getting paid less than what you're worth, doing something you absolutely hate, or spending years building an audience, When I started my business, I had 800 followers on Instagram. So very tiny audience. I didn't have an email list. I didn't have hardly anything. So I know you can build them from nothing. It's possible. So we're saying no to getting paid pennies. We're saying no to doing what you hate. And we're saying no to long building periods because none of us have time for that. So today we're going to break it all down. But first, let's get some like thoughts and ideas out of our heads. So I'm sure most people know that you don't actually have a successful business until your business is actually making money. But to have a business making money, you need to have offers that convert, a system of repeat clients, and a system that brings in a steady flow of new clients that come in the door. So instead of trusting a system that works and working, a lot of new business owners create things like download a bazillion freebies, hoping that that's going to be a silver bullet. They create huge goals and dreams, but they don't actually do the actions that it takes to get there. Manifestation only works when you take action. They try copying Jane or Susie down the street because she's having success. So obviously whatever she's doing has to work for me. They accept really crappy clients just to make money because they need dollars in their door. They spend countless hours working just to make ends meet and barely make enough. And they miss out on so many things in life. And they end up failing out and going back into corporate, which is why we left in the first place. Nobody wants to be there. So they all want the same thing. We all want the same thing. We want to see big successes and they want the same results, right? And the only way to get there is to ignore all of those things. So the truth is most skilled individuals don't know how to actually build a business. And that's okay because we're really skilled in something else. We're not skilled in business build, but we're going to cover that today. So let's talk about the steps that are going to get you there and take you out of being stuck because nobody likes being stuck. It's not a fun place. So the first step is we're going to start right at the beginning and we're going to take stock of all the skills that we have and we're going to decide what to work with. So I know it's hard to look at yourself and see what spaces or areas that we're actually good at. It's really hard to self-evaluate and see the good in ourselves and not the bad. But I want you to take time and dump a list of anything and everything that you have experience with. Don't leave anything out. Nothing is off the table. Case in point, I did this exercise with a friend yesterday. She is a nanny for kids and she's like, I don't have any skills. I'm like, sure you do. Like, what do you do with the kids when you nanny? What do you do around the house? What do you do when the parents aren't here? How do you get the kids out the door in the morning? Like those things matter. It's hard, but they matter. Those skills have taught you something that you can use in your business later. So everything, doesn't matter what it is, we're going to put it down. After we get through that, we're going to move into narrowing things down further because we don't want to do everything that's on that list. We want to do only the things that we're good at and the things that we really love. So we're going to narrow. First, you're going to rank your list. So you're going to look at your list and you're going to decide what things am I a pro at versus what things am I so-so at versus I know about it, but I don't know how to do it really well, right? The whole goal here is we want to step into those places where we're pros at things and we're not doing things that we're awful at, because if we're offering our clients things that we're not good at, then, case in point, we're under delivering our offers, which causes them to be upset and frustrated, which causes us to be upset and frustrated because then we're going to lose a client and we're going to be back at square one. So we're going to start by ranking our list. So put numbers by each skill on how well you know it, how well you're a pro at it, what you can do to get yourself from A to B. Okay, so maybe my list looks something like this. Maybe I know copywriting and I know how to do content creation and I know how to make landing pages and build automations and I'm really good at calendaring. Okay, so I've listed all my skills and then over here on the right, if you notice, I put the different levels that I am on a scale of 1 to 5. So maybe I'm pretty good at copywriting, maybe not a pro. Content creation, I've done it a couple times, I'm not great at it. Landing pages, I've built my own, but I wouldn't do it for somebody else. Automations, I'm like a wizard at. And calendaring, I can do it, don't love it, not a pro at it. I can take it or leave it, right? Okay, so from there, after we've ranked our skill set, from there, we're going to move into only narrowing down the things that we love doing so that we know we're only going to look at those skill sets as an offer. So circle them, star them, highlight whatever works great for you. So maybe I'm looking at this list and I'm going, I really enjoy copywriting. I'm not super fantastic at it, but I'm at a 4 out of 5. That's pretty dang good. And automations, obviously I'm a pro at it and I really love doing them because I love making life easier for not only myself, but for every business owner out there. So I'm going to put automations on my list. So you notice I circle them. So having those two things in place, knowing what I'm a pro at and knowing what I'm a pro at and I'm loving, is really going to help me get from A to B faster. Okay. This is the first step. We've got to make sure that we are delivering services and skill sets and products that our clients are going to want to come back for over and over again. And they're going to want to refer friends to over and over again. Okay. So also keep in mind, remember, these skills will change over time. They'll grow and they'll develop. Maybe you'll create new skills and new talents that are going to fall into that list. And they might be ranked differently. They might be better than some of the ones that you had before. Maybe that you love them more. And that's okay to rank up different things and create new skills and offers based on the new things that you learn and the new things that you become better at. The goal here to get started is start with what you know really well that you can offer. And then from there, start to make really great money off of that and take the money that you're making and turn it into new skills that you can create. Okay. So now we've got this beautiful list of things that we know that we're really good at. And then we have another list of things that we know we're really good at and the things that we really love doing inside of that list. So now we kind of have an idea of the things that we would want to offer. So we're going to work into choosing our offers and how to structure them for our audience, right? Okay. So I want you to look at those skills, the ones that you are really good at, the ones that you love doing, and decide what feels good to offer other clients. Remember, this is going to be something that you're doing often and a lot of, so you need to make sure that you feel good doing it. So if it's something that you don't love doing, but you're actually really good at it, I wouldn't offer it, because then every time you get that back as a client service, you're going to be really incredibly frustrated, right? You're going to not want to do that service because X, Y, and Z, right? Like, oh, well, I don't want to offer that because I hate sitting on a computer all day long and working on landing pages. So I don't want to offer that even though I'm really good at it. Okay. So make sure you look at things that actually feel good, that you're like, if I got stuck in my home office or on my couch binge watching Bones, that I could spend a good 6 hours doing this thing on repeat for either one client or multiple clients in a row, and it wouldn't bother me. Okay. Take a really good stock of what that list is. Sit with it for a little bit, leave, come back, revisit, whatever it might be. Okay. Then we need to start looking at how you're going to structure your offers. There's a couple of different ways in the virtual assistant world that you can structure your offers. Okay. Let's start at the top. So the first one is going to be an hourly retainer. So for me, this is one that I use quite often in business. It seems to be like a really great fit. Hourly retainers are going to be things like, I give you a block of time every month. You pay me a set price every month. So you can say things like, I'm going to offer you a 20-hour block for $200, and it's just going to repeat that charge every single month over month until we cancel. If you go over your hourly block, then I'm going to charge you per hour after that onto the next bill, right? Granted, please charge yourself more than $10 an hour. We're going to talk about figuring out our competitor pricing and how to price ourselves here in a minute, but you get the idea. Simple math here. Math was not my strong suit in school, so we're going to do simple math today. But hourly retainers are when you set a block of time and they know that they have a set amount of hours. And if they go over those hours, you charge over. If they go under, then you can choose to either let them roll into a month, or you can say it's a use it or lose it policy. So for me personally in business, I allow them to roll 1 month. And after that 1 month period, if they don't use it, they're gone. So let's say like in January, they only used 15, but they bought 20. In February, they would get 25. If they don't use the 5 extra from January, they're gone. And then we start over in March. Okay. That type of an idea is in place. So that's one way to structure your offers. The next is offering project-based offers. So this might be really prudent and helpful if you're offering things like, I'm going to build you a landing page, or I'm going to build you a set of automations, and that's all that they need. They don't need maintenance work for it. They don't need help making sure that things still work smoothly. They just need a one-off thing. Okay. So for these, make sure that you price them where you charge them the amount of time that it would take somebody else, even if you can get it done in half the time. Okay. What do I mean by that? Let me give you an example. Okay. That would be, sorry, really dry there. That would be when you, trying to think the best way to like figure this out. Okay. So I know I'm tracking my time at the beginning of my business. And from there, when I'm tracking my time at the beginning of my business, I know that for me to make a set of email automations, like a whole entire sequence and have it hooked to all the different places, on average, it took me about 20 hours from start to finish. Okay. That was when I first started. I knew that it took me about that. Now I'm 3 years into my business, and that 20 hours has now been cut down to 10. I can do it in half the time because I already know all these shortcuts. I have pre-built automations templates that I can just insert really quickly into their campaign builder, and it speeds things up really fast, right? I would not charge the client the $10 an hour, like the 10-hour block. I would charge them the 20. Why? They're paying me for the experience that I have. They're also paying me for the knowledge that I have. And they're also paying me for the fact that I can get them from A to B in the fastest way possible. Okay. So make sure that you charge your worth. And if you go over, that you go back and say, look, this took longer than expected. We need to reevaluate the offer. It's going to be an additional X amount of dollars. Always make sure you're getting what you're worth. If you don't feel comfortable with it, you're going to hate the project every time. Okay. All right. The next offering that you can give is you can charge by hour. This is really common when you're first starting out because you don't really know how long things are going to take you. And a lot of clients appreciate this offer because then they're only paying for what is really getting used. This works in a way where you work together for a set period of time, whether it's like, hey, I'm going to need it every month. Cool. You track your hours at the end of that pay period. You tell them I worked X amount of hours. That means your bill is going to be this much, right? Little tip here, you might want to make sure that you have an agreed upon limit where you know, like they feel comfortable with and where they don't feel comfortable with. If they only feel comfortable hitting, if I'm charging $10 an hour, they only feel comfortable paying $200 an hour. When I got close to that limit, I would say, hey, look, we're getting really close. Do you want me to continue and go over, or would you like me to stop when I get to that hour break and let them decide from there? It's always good to give them a choice and give them respect around that time block. They're paying for your time. Remember, this is a two-way street, a good relationship. We want to nurture those. So the 3 different things, let's review just really fast, is you can do monthly retainers. This one's really great, especially if you're super fast. You can get a lot of things done and you can still make a great chunk of money. Project base, this is going to work really well if you're doing one-off things, landing pages, websites, automations, and then you walk away. And then of course, the last one that we just talked about, charging by the hour and being very cognizant of how much time you're using. Okay. I get asked this a lot, so I figured I would just throw this in here. Yes, you can 100% have different options for your clients. You can definitely have different offerings within your business too. I do this as well, where I offer the ability to just have a one-off project. Like, hey, you just need help with that. Cool. You don't need monthly maintenance. Let's discuss a project offer. That's going to fit better with your business. Okay. So make sure you always have different options. Your clients will appreciate it too, because it gives them the ability to choose different things. Okay. Make sure as you're going through this process and you're building your business out, that you take time to test, grow, adapt your pricing. It's not going to stay the same. So when you first get into business, it might be that you only charge $10 an hour, but by year 2, maybe you're charging 15 because now you've gained experience, you took a course, you learned the thing, you're better at it, you're faster at it, you can charge more. So always be testing and adapting and growing to fill your business needs and your business cup as well as what your clients need. So be constantly looking at that. Okay. Oh, there we go. Tip. Oh, this is my little friendly tip. This is for me. This is a big problem for me, and I figured I might as well share it because I know that might be a pain point for some of you. I have a tendency when I get onto calls with clients, I connect really well with them. That's part of the reason why I do discovery calls, is so that I can feel the vibe between us. Like, are we going to be something where we can have a really great conversation? We can connect really well. And if so, like, I want it to move forward with our relationship. A lot of times on these calls, they will ask about your pricing point blank. Okay. Sometimes I will say, well, this is about what it would be. I can't give you a specific amount, but I can write up a proposal and send it to you. We're going to talk about proposals a little bit down the road. But for me, when I first started out, I would get nervous and I would freak out and I would want to just charge some low number because I wanted the client, right? Well, what would happen is I would quote them this low number, right? Like I'd be like, oh, yeah, I only charge $5 an hour. That's not what I charge. I charge like $20 an hour. But that's what they heard. And so that's what's stuck in their brain. And so when I sent a proposal for a higher quote, they turned me down because that's not what we discussed on the call. So for me, the easiest fix was to make sure that I wrote down my offers, like, hey, here's the different price breaks. And I had it on like a notebook or a sheet, or I had it open on my computer. Like maybe I wrote it out on Canva and I had it open on my computer whenever I got in a discovery call, so that I knew when I went into it, if they asked me those questions, I can default to look right at that and I don't have to scramble at the end. It's a really great way to keep yourself honest and not feel like you're cutting yourself short, but you can also be respectful to the person too. They came into this knowing that they're going to have to pay for something. So make sure you do yourself justice. Okay. All right. Number 3, we're going to move into pricing your offer, because that's a really important thing. Making sure you have it priced correctly. You want to make sure that you're not incredibly overpriced, but you also don't want to be the cheapest person on the planet either, because being too cheap is going to get you really weird, awkward clients that you're not really going to love working with. So we want to make sure that we price ourselves correctly. So let's talk a little bit about how to do that. So like I mentioned, pricing is one of the trickiest pieces. The thing about pricing is, and this is what I found over my years in business, I've been doing this for 8 years, is the cheaper the client, the harder they are. I'm going to say it again. The cheaper the client, the harder they are. Okay. The reason being is they'll come on and they'll expect the moon for their like little $100 an hour. Okay. That expectation delivery ratio is off. For some odd reason, it kind of goes ski-wampus with the people that are paying very little. However, the people that are paying a good, solid amount of money and understand that there's a relationship there will always honor and respect your limits. If you tell them, if you push back and say, I understand that you want this really fast, the fastest turnaround I can give is 24 hours. I will work my hardest if I can get it to you before I will. They're going to be like, great. Thank you. If you ask that cheap client the same thing, they're going to be like, well, I want it in 2 hours. That's not possible. Like, you're asking for a magic trick that I don't have, right? So pricing is something that we need to get right. It's something that we can always adapt to. Don't totally stress about it. We'll get to it. Okay. So the first things I want you to do is start by looking at your competitors and see what they have to offer. Take a look at more than one, because we want to make sure that we have a range of offers to look at. And remember, we're just using them as a reference point. We're not using them as a set in stone point. Okay. So for that, we're just making sure that we have a good range of prices to look at. We want to make sure that our competitors are in line with what our offers are. And we want to make sure that our competitors are also like at the same skill level as we are. So if they are offering things that are very similar to what we are offering, we want to make sure that our skill levels match, right? If we are offering something we're way more skilled at than they are, but they're charging $10 an hour, but we know we're better, we need to be charging more. Okay, so start by looking at your competitors, and we're going to take a good look at the field and make sure we have a good range to look at. Remember, again, it's just a reference. Okay, so things to keep in mind when you're looking at these competitors. Make sure you're looking at their actual offerings. So are they offering a retainer package? Are they doing one-off projects? Are they doing per hour? What things are they offering? Or do they have like kits or bundles? Like, are they doing things like, hey, I'll come in and buy it, build you a whole entire automation and test it for 3 months for X amount of dollars? Make sure you check those offerings all out. The other thing is to check out their skill set. This one might be a little bit trickier to see because they're not going to like point blank put, oh, I've taken X amount of courses on this skill set on their site. Now they might put out educational pieces. For example, on my site, I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. So I have both of those on my website because they're things that are relevant to my business. If they have those, then you can kind of gauge where you fall with that. If not, one of the best things you can do is go and look at their client testimonials. Based on what the clients are sending back of, this person helped me do X and it was amazing, you can kind of tell based off of what they asked for, how well they're good at it. Okay. If they're asking for something that's really advanced, that you know their skill set is up there. If they're asking for something that's so-so, then you know they're medium, and then of course a little less. To give an example for us to put it out there, I recently custom coded a navigation bar for a client, like fully wrote HTML, CSS code, right? Now that's like a really high experienced skill set, right? I had to take time to learn code to be able to work that website in. Now the testimonial that came back was really big around it, right? Like she custom coded it. So it's the custom colors, custom icons. It popped out the way that I wanted to. It worked on mobile the way I wanted it to. Like, it was incredibly impressive. If someone came across and saw that testimonial, they would look and see, well, okay, can I build a custom coded navigation bar, or am I the person that's using a template, or am I just dragging and dropping from a builder? Where do I fall, right? So look at their skill set. The other thing is to look at their experience. A good way to tell is how long they've been in business. A lot of times they'll put that on there. Like, I've started my business in XYZ. The longer they've been in business, the longer you know they've been doing things. So the more pricier they're going to be, that's not really a word, the more pricey they are, which is okay. And we're okay with that balance and that ratio. We just need to make sure that we're following into the right place. Okay. So take evaluations in all these different places. Where do you look for them? That's probably one of the biggest questions I get asked, is where do I find these clients at? Sorry, I take a drink. So yeah, questions in the where do I look? So great questions. Couple places to look. If you know that you're going to work with a specific type of client, like maybe I'm coming in and I know that I'm going to work with wedding photographer professionals, right? Awesome. So I'm going to go find Facebook groups online in Facebook and join them for VAs for wedding photographers. Or maybe I'll go into a wedding photographer group and look and see what they're saying about their virtual assistants. Okay. Or maybe someone will post and say like, hey, I really need a virtual assistant. Do you guys have any recommendations? And someone will be like, oh, I use Jane Doe. She's amazing. You should check her out. They'll tag her or drop her website. You can use those to go check them out. Also, Google is a great thing. If they have any type of keyword on there, they'll find it. And TikTok is becoming an incredible resource. It just passed Google as the #1 search engine. So use TikTok to your advantage as a place to search for what people are doing. They're going to be highlighting their skills there. Okay. So take the time to look, go do your research. It's important. I suggest doing this step often, even when you've been in business for a while, to go and evaluate where you're at based on the people around you. Okay. From here, we want to find where you fall. Are you the same as some of them? Are you better than them? Are you less than them? That's going to help us know where to price ourselves. Okay. We want to make sure that we're in line with the skill set. The reason being is when someone comes on to a discovery call with you and you quote them like, hey, well, my hourly rate is $50 an hour. And they're going to go, wow, you're really expensive. And be like, yes, that's more pricey than most. However, I do have this background. I can share some comparable stats if that helps with people that are in the same skill level as myself that are charging a little bit more or around the same as I am, right? It kind of lets you be backed up by data and statistics. We're using it as a support when we quote. Okay. So decide from there. And of course, make sure your pricing feels comfortable, because if you're not 100% behind it and you can't feel good about it, you're going to have a really hard time offering that to a client. Remember too, you can always raise your prices. You can always offer deals. So you don't have to be stuck in stone with your pricing. Okay. You can always go one way or the other. One of my favorite things to do with clients, if I know they're sitting on the fence and I like the way that we are vibing on the call together, like we're having a really great conversation, we're connecting really well, what I will do is say, hey, the more hours you purchase, like if you go from this 10-hour package up to a 20-hour package, I actually give you a per hour rate break. So like my 10-hour a month package is $10, but if you buy into the 21, I've cut the per hour down to $7. So you get a little bit of price break by gaining more hours. So I'm still making money. I still feel comfortable with it, but then they feel like they're getting a deal too. And it's minimum amount of change. Remember, I'm still charging what it would take me normally, even though I do half that stuff in half the time. Okay. The other thing you can do is you can offer specials or deals if you want to, like, hey, I will offer you a kickback for everybody you refer. Like I do this in my business. Like if you refer a client back to me and they sign up, I will give you a $200 kickback for every person that comes on, right? Or you could say your first month, I'll give you $100 savings with me. And then if you continue for the next 6 months, I'll send you X amount of dollars at the 6 month mark. You can create anything. It's your business. Remember, the rules are free for you to decide. So make sure you're comfortable with it. Okay, so here we go. Another little tip, when you offer pricing, make sure you offer 3 price points in your proposal. The reason why is a psychology trick. People will always fall for the middle one. Let me show you, okay? So when on your proposal, you wanna have a low option, a mid option, and a high option. 9 times out of 10, they will go for the mid because it feels like they're getting a deal, right? They're not being super cheap and they're not getting short-cutted, but they're not overpaying for something. They're getting a deal, but they're getting great quality. It doesn't make logical sense, but it kind of does in their head. That's how they justify it, right? It's a psychology trick. It works really well with purchasing. So I always, when I send proposals out, I like to say, and I do this with like retainer breaks, right? I want to make sure you have all the options in front of you based off of what we discussed. Here's a list of the things that you asked for. I would suggest this middle range option. It's going to be the one that covers the most for you. It's X amount of dollars. However, if that is not a budget, friendly option, there are 2 other options for you to choose from. In the low package, I can give you X amount of hours. We might not be able to tackle everything on the list. We'll have to do a little prioritizing. And if we go on the high end, I can guarantee that we can get everything, and we'll probably have extra to be able to tackle those fun projects that you want to knock out too. Okay. When you give them all 3 and it gives them some time to like think and stew, they will almost always pick that middle option. Okay. All right. With that in mind, let's talk about pitching our services, because that's part of the deal too, right? We have to learn how to come across as professional and get our message across. So first up, a few big no-nos that we do not do. We do not pitch in the comments. We do not pitch on emails, and we do not pitch on calls. Okay. The reason being is you want to come across with a level head. If you remember a little bit earlier on when I told you, like, sometimes I would keep a Canva document or a notebook nearby where I had my pricing. It was because I would get asked on these calls, like, hey, how much do you charge? And I would panic and I would just say a number. So I quickly learned, and most people are incredibly respectful of this, of not getting everything. You can say, well, this is kind of what I charge per hour, but let me evaluate what we've discussed and send you a couple of options and a proposal, and we can kind of go from there. 9 times out of 10, they're like, fantastic. If you send the proposal later that day, like an hour or 2 later, they're going to be fine. The reason why we don't want to pitch in the comments, okay, like I'm talking like Facebook groups or maybe on Instagram or something like that, is because not only are you looking desperate to them, like, oh my gosh, I just need a client, just sign up, but you're also opening the door for your competitors to come steal from you, which is horrible. We don't want them to steal from us. We want to be able to win that client over because we want to work with them. Pitching in the emails takes away the ability to, you meet each other and vibe with each other. You need to make sure that it's a relationship that works for you too. This isn't a one-sided relationship, it's a two-sided relationship. So I don't like pitching in emails just because I don't get to know them. Second of all, it's incredibly impersonal. There's a wall. So they can easily say no without feeling any repercussions or me understanding why they want to not be there. Okay. And of course, calls, because we all do that, like scramble, and we're like, I'm just going to say a number. We don't want to do that. We're going to cut ourselves short, right? Okay. So this is what we're going to do instead. We're going to set up a discovery call with them. They can be short and sweet. My discovery calls are 30 minutes long. They're not intended to be ages and ages long. They're short, sweet. We get to the point. When I get on with them, I ask them a series of questions. And during that time period, I actually do ask them personal questions because I want to see how they'll respond to me. If they're more open to talk to me and then we kind of vibe back and forth a little bit, I know it's going to be a good working relationship. Okay. Remember that this relationship goes both ways. You can tell them no, that you're not a good fit. It's okay. Permission granted. Okay. Let me give you an example of some of the questions that I like to ask. So the first thing I do when I get on there, I don't want to jump straight into business. I'll be like, hey, how was your day today? It's Saturday. How's your Saturday treating you? Oh, it's going great. Well, awesome. So where in the world are you calling me from? A, that tells me what time zone they're in. Is that going to be a good match for me? B, it gives them an opportunity to share a little bit about where they live. And I can kind of tell about their environment. Then I'll be like, oh, cool. Usually they'll share something with me, right? Like how's your day or where you live? They'll tell me something like, oh, it's been like a really stressful morning. I had to drop off my kids this morning at school. And then instantly I can see, okay, they're a mom. They work from home. They live in this city. These are these things that I can use in our conversation. So then I'll come back you guys learned at the very beginning, I'm a mom as well. So I'll come back and be like, oh my gosh, I hear you. The drop-off line in the mornings are horrible. Like I had to plan an extra 20 minutes just to get through the line to make sure that he gets there on time. Like I have to leave my house 20 minutes before. That's like insane, right? Like, how's your drop-off line? Is it like that too? Like, oh my gosh, awful, right? And then I usually, if they tell me they have kids, like, how old are your kids? Oh, that's so fun. Like, that's a fun stage of life. Like, or if they're older, I'll be like, give me your best tip. Like my son is 8. They'll be like, I have an 8-year-old. Tell me the best tip that I need to know with him growing up. Instantaneously gives us a personal connection. I can see how they'll respond to me. If they're going to be open and answering questions, it means that they're going to feel more comfortable telling me what they don't like and what they do like when we're working together. Okay. And then ask them about their business. Okay. So we jumped on this call together. See if this is a good fit. Tell me what kinds of things you're looking for in your business. What kinds of things do you need help with? Let's see if that's something that I can help you with. Let them dump. Watch everything. See which ones are pain points for them. See which places are great fits. See what things you're like, I know I can't exactly help them 100% here, but I know I can over here. And be honest. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit about that. So next, if you're liking this vibe on the call, you're going to email a proposal afterwards. Okay. I like to mention both on the call and in the proposal, the weak spots. I like to be honest with my clients from the get-go. So case in point, I met with a woman recently who really wanted help with SEO on her website, in addition to like a whole other things. Like she wanted, outreach and social media content and helping her set up paid things on the back end and client retention, that type of stuff. I could do just about everything except for SEO. That's one thing that I've done some training around, but I'm not comfortable being a pro at. Okay. It's not like I'm not solid at it. So on the call, when she mentioned it, I was like, okay. And I was like, well, let me kind of give you a run back, like make sure I'm hearing you correctly. I repeat everything. And she's like, yeah, that's right. I'm like, okay, I feel comfortable supporting you in everything except for SEO. That is one spot that I am not comfortable in. However, if you're willing to be patient with me and work with me, I'd be more than happy to go and take a course or experiment and learn with you how to optimize your site for that. But I completely understand if that's not a fit and you want to outsource that piece as well. And she was like, thank you for telling me that. That makes it so much easier. Let's kind of see how it goes. And then if I decide to outsource, I'll let you know. I'm like, fantastic. That sounds great. Okay. And then again, on my proposal that I emailed afterwards, I made sure to list the things that I felt really comfortable. And then just down in the bottom, like I mentioned, like, hey, an add-on, like we can talk about SEO and I'd be more than willing to take a course. Let me know your thoughts on this. Done. Okay. In the proposal too, I should show you an example of one. I don't have one ready. I will attach one down the bottom so you guys can see, but the proposal, I usually like to include everything we talked about on the call. I also like to include an estimated monthly investment, like, hey, this is what you'd be looking at paying every month to have me come in and work. I like to have a page of testimonials, like, hey, this is what all my other clients are saying about working with me, just so you can kind of see the feedback. And then I like to have a page of examples, like, here's examples of landing pages I did, here's some social media content, here's a clickable Canva portfolio that has a whole bunch of different graphics so you can see those, whatever it might be, so that they can have all of them in one pretty place. It's really easy. And make sure, another tip, that your proposal is branded. You want it to match your brand so that it feels very like the same, right? Okay, then we're going to send it off with a follow-up email. We're going to do it the same day that we have our call. We want to make sure that we're right on top of it, right? We want to make sure that we're not missing the opportunity to connect right after we had this amazing call. So we're going to send them an email and say, you know, like, hey, Jane Doe, it was so nice meeting with you today. I loved learning about you and your business. I loved X, Y, and Z about your business. Make sure you mention something. Or I hope you had a smooth pickup of your good little one and the pickup line today. I really enjoyed getting to know your business and how you support your clients. As discussed, here's a proposal that's attached that kind of breaks down how I can be able to support you with some different options. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Happy to answer that for you. Okay, you send it off. I usually like to wait about 3 days before I do a follow-up. The reason being is we're busy. You're a business owner, you kind of understand that too. You've got a million things going on, and we can't always balance all of them together. So I follow up about 3 days later if I haven't heard from them, and I just send them a like, hey, just wanted to check in and see how things were going. Like, I really loved our conversation. Let me know if there's any questions or concerns that I can answer for you. Let me know. Okay, and I kind of leave it at that. If I don't hear back, I want to show you one of my favorite tips. Okay, this is one of the easiest ways to get an answer, and 9 times out of 10, they'll answer right away. If I've sent that follow-up email 3 days after, and then it's still like another 3 or 4 days later, and I still haven't heard, so now we're at a week past our discovery call date, I will send them an email in the thread. Like, I'll just do a reply, and I'll say, hey, Jane Doe, I just wanted to reach out and see if you were still interested. Can you just let me know? I don't want to clog up your inbox with follow-ups if this isn't something that you want to do. Thanks. Simple. Are you interested? Yes or no? 9 times out of 10, they'll come back and either say, yes, I'm still interested. I just had like this huge thing happen at work, or yes, I'm still interested, but I've got to like realign some budget things. Can you contact me in 2 weeks? Like, they'll tell you what they need, or they'll say, you know what, things have changed. This isn't really a great fit right now. Awesome. Perfect. Thank you for letting me know. If that ever changes, please feel free to reach out. I would love to connect with you. Move on. Okay. We take no harm, no foul from people leaving us. It's a good thing. We don't want to work with people that don't want to work with us. It's a waste of our time and a waste of theirs, and it will hurt our business in the long run. Okay. And it's okay for them to turn us down too if they come back and they're like, nope, because that opens the door for another great dreaming client to come through. Keep reaching out, keep sharing your offer, and keep creating to build that pipeline of fresh new leads that are coming in the door. Okay. A great problem to have is too much work where you can start to outsource, which is going to be a topic of a different workshop, but it's always a good thing to have this steady stream of people coming in the door. Okay. And then we move into marketing, right? So now we understand all these pieces. We know what we're offering, how to price it, how to put it together, how to pitch our services, what that looks like. Well, how do we get people to see us? This is like a really hard pain point, right? Let's talk about it. So once we start to find people that we work well with, or the things that we want to work well with, we're going to use it in our marketing. Okay, we're going to use, it's called pain, agitate, solve. It's a really great marketing technique, especially when you're first starting out, to help drag and magnetize clients back into you. Okay, you're going to use pain points, their struggles, and their frustrations in your messages, in your social media posts, in your emails, whatever it might be. You're going to put them out in there. This will draw them back to you like a magnet, and it will self-weed the people that aren't a good fit for you, right? That don't want to work with you, or are not people that you want to work with yourself. Okay. Great ways to find these pain points, struggles, and frustrations. One, use your discovery calls. They can be research as well. So even if the person doesn't convert, they're going to tell you pain points that they're having, issues. I don't have enough time. My last VA was really crappy, whatever it might be, right? We want to make sure that we're using those to our advantage. Use Google, use Reddit, use Facebook groups, use Instagram, use TikTok. Go and discover what your clients are complaining about. Okay. Discover what their weak spots are. Write them down word for word and use them in your marketing messaging. It's really key to use their own words against them. I know it sounds kind of dirty, but it actually speaks directly to you. When, I don't know if you've ever come across a marketing message and it's come in and you're like, oh my gosh, it's like they're reading my brain. They know exactly what I'm talking about. This hurts. Like, this is such a bad pain point for me. They're not reading your mind. They went and did research and somebody mentioned something that feels exactly like you and they used it in their messaging. So use it. It's a way to help you grow. Okay. All right. So once we've got all these pieces, we're constantly marketing, we're using pain point, struggling messages, whatnot. We've joined Facebook groups where our client will hang out. We're using our Instagram towards our advantage. We're posting on TikTok. We're having fun with our marketing. We're using that pain, agitate, solve method. You're just going to keep doing it on repeat, and they're going to keep coming into this nurture funnel. You're going to get on discovery calls. You're going to pitch your services, do a follow-up. We're going to hit it. We're going to keep doing it on repeat. Once you start to get big enough to outsource, which is going to be a different workshop altogether, like, you can start to grow and this system can just become a well-oiled machine. And then you're only doing the calls itself and your team is doing the work for you. So this wraps it up for me. I just wanted to show you a couple of other clients that I've worked with while you guys are dumping some questions for me. So this is Robin. I worked with her for a little while to grow her social account. She was incredible. She is doing amazing things with her business, and I really enjoyed working with her. This is Wendy, another client. She's currently with me. She's amazing. One thing I really love about her that you can see, like, there's been a couple times where she's asked me if I know how to do something, and I've been honest with her and told her, like, hey, I've never done that before, but I'm happy to show you how, or like, I'm happy to learn how to do that if you're okay with me learning. And she's 100% on board, and then totally fine because I'm transparent and honest with her. So make sure that transparency door is open. This is Brittany. I've worked with her for a little bit to help her flip her social media around and get her lots of clients coming in her door. She's amazing to work with. I really enjoyed her. And this is Kess, another one who we helped take her business from an idea to an actual launch. So, like I mentioned before in the workshop, in a little bit here, you're going to get a little gift from me in your inbox. I just want to say thank you for coming today. And I'm hoping that it will help give you another boost and help you work through those questions and thoughts that you had in your mind. And I'm going to leave the Q&A open here for a couple minutes, and we'll kind of wait for that. And then if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I just want to say thank you for coming, and I'll see you in the replay. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Do you want to build a business that you fall in love with, that you love so much, that you're excited about getting up every day, that also gives you the ability to pay yourself a really fat paycheck every single month and not ever have that money stress again? I don't know about you, but that's a hard yes for me. I want that in my life. That's why I built the business I did. If you could be coached in a way every single step of that journey and have resources at your fingertips and a roadmap to get you from here to there, do you feel like you could build that business? Could you do it? I know you can. I know you could, because I did it and I've helped other people have that success too. So if there's only one thing that you take away from our workshop today, I want you to know that your business dreams are just a small little decision away, no matter how you're starting, whether you've been in business for a bunch of time or you're just starting out, you just have to make tweaks and start to go and test and develop, right? My question for you is, how are you going to take all this stuff that we covered today, how to build your business, this roadmap from getting from A to Z, and act on it? It's not going to work unless you take action. I can't put it into place for you. I want you to imagine with me for just a minute. What if you could create a business where you knew exactly where your people were? You knew that you could create these amazing offers and that they would die for, that they would be like, yes, sign me up. You could have a discovery call and they would email you back the same day or the next day and say, great, send me the contract. What would you do? What if you could make as much money as you wanted? You could charge your premium prices, what you're worth. You could learn how to scale your business and continue to grow it. What if? What if you could set up systems, procedures and stuff on the back end so that it ran on its own? You could take a vacation, you have vacation off, like Christmas, you could have time off with your kids. You wouldn't have to worry about taking that time off because there's always going to be money coming in that door. Would that change your life? How would that feel for you? I don't know about you, but that for me would be incredibly life-changing. That's huge, right? So it's time to stop dreaming about it, and it's time to start doing it. That business is going to change your life, and it's one choice away. One choice. So if it's okay with you, I want to share one of my favorite programs. It's a program that in fact introduces all of these concepts. It helps produce all of those results we just talked about. And it's actually the same exact steps that helped me create the lifestyle that I've dreamt about. Okay. Literally has helped you get from A to B. The program is called the Virtual Assistant Hub. It's an amazing little tool that helps you grow and build your business. And I want to walk you through it today, just a sky high view of it, so you can kind of see it from the top. Okay. So it contains 3 different pieces. I want to break them all down for you. The first one up is modules and resources, because education is so huge, right? So the first thing that you get access to is you get 6 different modules inside of the hub. First is business blocks. I'm going to teach you how to set up your business right from the get-go, making sure it's legal, making sure you're deciding the right types of plans, actually going through and picking the right offers for things. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to dive into mindset and making sure that you put in boundaries with you. This is going to help you weed out clients that you don't want to work with and don't want to work with you, and keep the ones that are dreamy and that we want to have them stay forever, right? Those clients are amazing. We're going to also talk about creating content, creating marketing, literally just magnetizing those people in the door. And I want you to help create those messages that are like, oh my gosh, she's reading my mind. But if only they knew this secret. I'm going to teach you how to do it, implement it. It's going to be incredible. Next, we're going to work on building systems to create an automated system that's always going to be bringing you fresh leads in the door at a constant pace, because in business, you need to always make sure that flow is going, right? And then, of course, one of my favorites is the upsell. I'm going to tell you and teach you how to upsell services to your clients, which help increase your bottom dollar without you feeling like a slimy used car salesman, because there's nothing worse than feeling icky when you sell. Okay. It's designed to take any business at any stage, whether I have no idea what I'm doing and I want to take the leap, to I've been in business for 10 years and I need refining my message. Both work. Okay. And I add additions every single month. Let's see. So far, we've got how to create manifestation boards and hit your goal every year. We have a book list. We have a quick start guide. Amazing things are all hiding inside of there, and they come up every single month. Okay. Very cool stuff. The second thing you get is access to the exclusive community. Okay. We also have a private group chat. We have a private app that you can access. And inside of there, you can ask questions. You can direct message people. You can have voice chats with them. It's pretty cool. But you can ask all these questions and get this direct feedback from your audience, right? Or even from your mentors. Scratch that. You have access to this private group. that gives you the ability to ask the questions that you need answers to, bounce ideas off of other people that are in the same situation as you, reach out to help. Like, we're all here to help you grow and get the support you need. The other thing you get access to is a Q&A call every single month with me. You would jump on, answer your questions. We make sure you're getting from A to Z. Okay. We want to make sure that you're having the best success possible. The third piece is bonuses and updates, because who doesn't want bonuses? I know I do. It's amazing. I love bonuses. Give them to me. So the first is I'm going to gift you my Booked Out Blueprint course. And this course is a short 5-day course, really bite-sized pieces. It teaches you how to create a booked out roster of clients that are dreamy. It teaches you how to send proposals and get them really well. It teaches you a follow-up method that you can create literally every single time to get an answer. It's incredible. And I highly, I use this every time I'm in a pinch, or one of my students or coaching clients are like, I need a client. I'm like, cool, let's do this. And we go right back to this blueprint. It works every single time. I'm going to gift that to you. The first bonus is you're going to get access to my contract. I paid a lawyer over $1,500 to get access to this contract, and I'm going to turn around and gift it to you so you can modify it and use it in your business. Very easy to modify. It's just placing your business name, your business address. Done, ready to go. Okay, the second is swipe files. You're going to take all my swipe files, all my templates, all those things, adjust them to fit your business, and you're done. Half the work is already there for you. Super simple. And the third is lifetime updates, because the market is constantly changing. I'm going to be updating modules. I'm going to be adding more things. I'm going to be helping you along the way. And as long as you're in this hub, you're going to get access to those things. Okay. So let's talk about investment, what that looks like. So the hub includes all those 6 value-packed modules that help you build a business, find your audience, craft your market, all that type of stuff. You get access to the live community. You get the group chats and all that stuff on the back end. You get software recommendations. You get the bonus contract. You get the bonus swipe files. You get the bonus lifetime access and updates while you're in the hub. If you leave, you lose access to those. But there's simple, easy lifetime.